on my seat by 82%. Know this, I am gonna come through on a landslide just like Trump did. Know that I will be victorious.
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, Illinois and Thornton Township supervisor, has encountered a significant setback that many perceive as the beginning of her decline in the political arena. Her recent loss in the race for re-election as Thornton Township supervisor during a chaotic Democratic caucus marks a dramatic turning point in her once ambitious career. Henyard has long been a polarizing figure, characterized by a blend of bold assertions of authority and relentless controversies that have plagued her tenure. This electoral defeat not only brings her dual role as a leader to an end, but also signifies a broader shift in the political landscape of the region. Trust in her leadership has steadily eroded over the years, weighed down by criticism over mismanagement, governance issues, and controversial policy decisions that alienated key constituencies. While her supporters often hailed her as a strong visionary leader, detractors raised alarms about her lack of transparency, questionable administrative choices, and an apparent detachment from grassroots. Concerns the recent Democratic caucus, marked by drama and vocal discontent, revealed the depth of dissatisfaction brewing among local political ranks and community stakeholders. Many rallied behind alternative candidates who promised change, accountability, and a departure from Henyard's tumultuous governance. This pivotal caucus serves as a profound symbol and a practical blow to Henyard, who built her public image around the idea of being a transformative figure capable of wielding power across multiple roles. Her failure to secure re-election leaves her isolated in a political landscape, increasingly skeptical of her leadership, with many interpreting this loss as a referendum on her overall record and suitability for public office. Moreover, this defeat casts a long shadow over her future prospects in politics, challenging her ability to maintain the influence and authority she once enjoyed. Observers of local politics note that Henyard's fall from grace reflects broader frustrations with leadership that prioritizes self-promotion over community engagement, highlighting a collective demand for leaders who foster trust, inclusivity, and transparency. The implications extend beyond Henyard's career, signaling a potential shift in Thornton Township's priorities as incoming leadership aims to restore public confidence and address long-standing issues neglected during her tenure, as Henyard faces an uphill battle to salvage her reputation amid intensifying criticism and a dwindling political base. Her supporters grapple with a challenging question. Was her bold vision for dual leadership undermined by external opposition or internal failings? As Thornton Township prepares for new leadership, Henyard's story serves as a potent reminder of the fragility of political power, the lasting consequences of divisive leadership, and the enduring expectation that public servants prioritize governance that genuinely serves community interests. Ultimately, the end of Henyard's tenure as super mayor is not only a personal setback, but also a larger turning point in regional politics, highlighting the struggle to balance ambition with accountability in public service. Henyard's troubles continued to mount when she failed to secure a spot on the Democratic ballot for the April 2025 election due to a glaring technical oversight. Her slate of candidates for the Thornton Township supervisor position was incomplete. According to township rules, candidates must submit a full slate comprising a supervisor, highway director, clerk, assessor, and 4 trustees. Henyard's omission of a certified assessor led to her automatic disqualification, creating a golden opportunity for State Senator and Thornton Township Democratic Committeeman Napoleon Harris, who presented a complete slate and adhered to the rules. This technicality allowed Harris to walk away victorious from a pivotal Democratic caucus, much to the dismay of Henyard and her supporters. This loss was far from an ordinary political defeat. It occurred during the first caucus in Thornton Township in 30 years. Traditionally, the township held primary elections, but Harris opted for a caucus, a move Henyard viewed as a calculated effort to push her out of the race. The caucus intensified the drama surrounding the election, which was held at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium. The event drew hundreds of attendees, turning into a high-stakes political showdown. Emotions ran high as Henyard supporters filled the room to its 600-person capacity, leaving many of her backers stranded outside in the cold. The chaotic scene provided fertile ground for Henyard's accusations of voter suppression, as she claimed logistical failures and the exclusion of her supporters from the venue contributed to an unfair process. The caucus symbolized a system rigged against her, further fueling tensions between her camp and Harris's faction. Despite her claims of foul play, Harris's successful nomination underscored the importance of adhering to procedural rules, a lesson Henyard learned too late. Observers noted that Harris's decision to hold a caucus was a calculated political gamble that paid off, while Henyard's failure to submit a complete slate cast doubt on her organizational abilities and readiness to lead the township supporters of Harris praised his strategic planning and attention to detail, qualities that ultimately propelled him to victory. The aftermath of the caucus highlighted the sharp divisions within Thornton Township's political landscape, as both sides continued to trade barbs over the legitimacy and fairness of the process. Henyard's defeat not only impacts her political future, but also alters the dynamics of local governance, marking the end of her dual-role leadership and ushering in a new chapter under Harris. The atmosphere during and after the caucus was electric, with political tension spilling over into public discourse as residents debated the merits and drawbacks of this historic process. For Henyard, the loss serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of political power and the importance of adhering to procedural requirements in a high-stakes environment. Meanwhile, Harris's victory positions him as a rising force in local politics, with the caucus serving as both a turning point in Thornton Township's history and a cautionary tale for those who might underestimate the impact of administrative oversights as Thornton Township prepares for a new era of leadership. The drama of the 2025 caucus will undoubtedly linger in the minds of its residents, serving as a defining moment in its political history. The shift away from Henyard's tumultuous era is palpable, and the community now looks ahead with hopes of restoring trust and accountability in local governance.
For a while, it's like, grassroots. It was organic when a lot of this things started at the township, where the people were, just showing their...
While Tiffany Henyard's humiliation dominated the evening's discourse, the surreal atmosphere was amplified by the presence of longtime Thornton Township residents who had never witnessed anything like it. For decades, Thornton Township politics had been comparatively peaceful under Frank Zuccarelli, who served as supervisor for nearly 30 years without facing a challenge. His death in 2022 created a power vacuum, and Henyard's contentious ascent to the position elicited mixed reactions. Some viewed her as a fresh face in an outdated system, while others regarded her as an outsider with questionable intentions outside the venue. Many of Henyard's supporters wandered aimlessly, clearly confused and frustrated. Some complained that her team had assured them their presence alone would secure her seat, adding to the absurdity of the night. One attendee remarked that the caucus felt like the culmination of months of tension within the township's democratic structure. "We came all the way out here for nothing." A fan shook their head, reflecting the disappointment shared by many. Reports indicated that the auditorium had been filled hours before the caucus began, with those left outside arriving late. Henyard's logistical blunders and combative demeanor only reinforced her reputation as someone incapable of organizing or leading effectively, as Napoleon Harris noted. "We want to conduct this in an appropriate and lawful manner," a sentiment that starkly contrasted with Henyard's handling of the situation. Speculation about how she would bounce back from such a public humiliation loomed large. While her threat to sue garnered media attention, political insiders were skeptical about her chances of reversing the caucus results. One observer remarked, "Losing credibility is more important than simply losing a nomination. How can you get people to support you when you've been so publicly humiliated?" Even Henyard's most devoted supporters appeared to be wavering, with rumors circulating that some of her closest advisors were distancing themselves from her, unwilling to be associated with what seemed to be a sinking ship. For those unfamiliar with Henyard's ascent to power, her brief, 7-minute appearance as the Democratic contender for Thornton Township supervisor left her visibly agitated. Her narrative is one marked by ambition, scandal, and, according to her detractors, poor leadership. Following Frank Zuccarelli's passing, Henyard was appointed supervisor in 2022 while simultaneously serving as mayor of Dalton, a position she had won in 2021 with over 80% of the vote. This dual role earned her the moniker Super Mayor, but it also drew skepticism regarding her capacity to manage both responsibilities. Allegations of financial mismanagement have marred her tenure. Henyard has faced criticism for her use of public funds, with reports revealing excessive spending on lavish dinners, personal protection, and even flights to Las Vegas. She has been accused of using township credit cards for purchases at stores like Amazon, Target, and Walgreens. In one instance, she allegedly spent over $4,300 on Amazon in a single day, raising eyebrows about her fiscal responsibility. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot's investigation into Dalton's finances painted a troubling picture, revealing a dramatic drop in the village's general fund balance, from a surplus of over $5 million in 2022 to a staggering deficit of $360 million by mid-2024. This has been a grassroots issue, one resident noted, highlighting the community's growing disapproval of Henyard's leadership. Henyard's autocratic style has further fueled dissent. At a village board meeting, she reportedly asserted, "You all forget I'm the leader. They want to hear from the mayor, not the trustees." This comment exemplified her harsh leadership approach, which has alienated many constituents and contributed to the growing chorus of calls for change as the fallout from the caucus unfolds. Henyard's future in politics looks increasingly uncertain. The evening not only highlighted her personal humiliation, but also served as a broader reflection of the discontent brewing within Thornton Township, a community ready for a shift in leadership and priorities.
One thing to win, but let's do it properly and let the people really have a voice. The people's voice was taken.
In the days leading up to the event, Tiffany Henyard didn't go down without a fight. She orchestrated a last-minute effort to rally support by using Thornton Township vehicles to transport her senior supporters to the venue. However, her plan backfired spectacularly when the buses arrived late, leaving many of her backers unable to enter. This logistical mishap quickly became fodder for her critics, who pounced on her apparent inability to effectively organize her own base. Frustrated by the backlash, Henyard shot back, insisting, "Nothing, they just run their mouths. You all don't do any work." This statement alienated many of her colleagues, leading to frequent clashes with trustees and local officials. As a result, the atmosphere around her leadership began to sour after her electoral defeat. Henyard's response was anything but subdued. She vowed to challenge the caucus results in court, claiming that the process was rigged against her. "I will be suing everyone tomorrow," she declared defiantly. Reflecting on her earlier triumph, she likened her victory to hitting the lottery. But now she seemed to be grappling with the consequences of her leadership, or lack thereof. Henyard's attorney, Max Solomon, echoed her sentiments, alleging that Harris manipulated the caucus process to his advantage and that the rules were fundamentally unfair. However, election law experts pointed out that the caucus system is legal in Illinois and has been used in various townships for decades, including Dalton, where she serves as mayor. Residents have increasingly voiced their desire for change. At a recent village board meeting, many turned their backs on Henyard as she spoke, a symbolic gesture underscoring her dwindling popularity. While her options remain limited, she could still run for Thornton Township Supervisor as a write-in candidate, but that's a long shot at best. Despite the odds being stacked against her, some supporters remain hopeful. "I think enough people know her name to write her in, and I believe we could still win it," said one ally. Yet the challenges ahead are significant, adding to her troubles. Reports have surfaced that the FBI is investigating allegations of financial misconduct related to her administration. Subpoenas have been issued for records concerning her top aides and other village employees, as well as her cancer charity, the Tiffany Henyard Foundation, which is under scrutiny for failing to register with the state and disclose how it allocates donations. Calls for change in Dalton and Thornton Township are intensifying, primarily focused on Mayor Henyard. Her future in public office appears increasingly bleak in light of these controversies and her recent electoral defeat. She gave up 32 minutes to someone who doesn't care about anyone else's time except hers, critics lamented. Reflecting the frustration felt by many, not everyone is reveling in Henyard's downfall. Some of her loyal followers argue that she is being unfairly targeted by both the media and her opponents. "Why is it that they only ever attack Tiffany? What about the others?" one commenter questioned. There are those who sympathize with her, claiming the criticisms are rooted in racial and gender bias. Yet these voices are increasingly drowned out by those who believe her removal is a necessary step toward accountability and transparency in Thornton Township. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: Tiffany Henyard's reign as mayor is over, and her potential political comeback remains uncertain. For now, her detractors are enjoying this moment of victory, and the unfolding saga of her political future continues to draw public attention. What do you think about the caucus process? Was Henyard unfairly singled out? Does she have a chance as a write-in candidate? Share your thoughts in the comments below.